that we can do to deal with that is then back out some of the state's GF dollars and replace those with stimulus package dollars. We've identified about $250 million that we believe fits into that, and we're working with some of the lawmakers and their advisors to see if they're comfortable with that also. It's how I will choose to deal with the stimulus package dollars that they believe will be in the state's best interest to accept. I'm going to keep telling them, though, that it is a problem managing the public's expectations when these programs are expanded with these dollars. To assume that in 18 or 24 months the public will accept that we cut off some of the program expansion or that we lay off some of the public employees that will be hired with these dollars. It's a tough thing to manage the public's expectations and to grow government and then think we're going to scale it back in 2 years. Tough thing to swallow.
So you'll accept all the money and then back out some to replace with GF?
Our discussion this afternoon with lawmakers will be on that, on wanting to work with them to get them to see the light in how this is doable. Technically and legally, we believe that it is doable. We can back out state GF funds, replace them with stimulus dollars, and then they, at the end of the day, have fulfilled their resolution of accepting the dollars. And I'll feel better about it because then all those dollars will not just be additional dollars, but they will be replacement. And I do beg to differ with lawmakers who say, well, there aren't really all the strings attached that the administration said there were to these funds. Yeah, there's strings attached to every single federal dollar that comes our way. The biggest, fattest string is that we are tying ourselves to the problem of the nation's growing debt, $11 trillion of debt. That's a big problem, and it's a big fat string to want to be tied to. And look, what this is basically a bailout for many of the states. Look what's happening on a national level with private businesses, where government's coming in to bail them out in order to get in there and have more control of those businesses. Who's to say that the same philosophy isn't going to be used there in terms of bailing out a state and then getting in there and having more control over that state? That doesn't sit well with Alaskans.
Governor,
when you talk specifically about some of the stimulus dollars with obvious strings attached, like the energy building codes that will have to be adopted by local communities who today may not have those energy building codes, but in order to accept the money and spend the money, they'll need the codes. That's another example of a string that is attached. We'd rather see building codes discussed and adopted on a local level and not be mandated by the feds. Yeah, Bob.
Are you saying that the stimulus is intended to let the federal government get more control of businesses? Specifically?
The stimulus package?
Inference just now.
What I inferred was looking at what the bailout packages are on a federal level, getting into businesses, bailing them out, and then government being able to get in there and say, okay, now that you have more federal money, the feds then have more control, more say in how the businesses run. That's what I'm saying.
Are you in favor of the lack of accountability we had the last 8 years in the previous administration? You're favoring the lack of accountability during the last 8 years?
We need accountability in government. Yeah, Rebecca.
What's the difference? You say the biggest string is just tying ourselves to federal money, but for years and years we've been taking billions each year in federal money, not just for the capital budget, but in operating, and it often has strings attached as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So why now is this a problem when it's not?
It was a problem then too, and it was a problem when I first got elected and saw that we still had so many earmarks, for instance, that had been requested under previous administrations, and we scaled that back so drastically that I think we're down to maybe 8 earmarks, is it, Karen? 8. Here in Alaska, we have an opportunity. We have more of an opportunity here than any other state in the nation to be part of the solution and not part of that problem that you're articulating there, Rebecca. And the solution is development within our own resource-rich state. The only way we're going to get to do that, though, is for the feds to give us that allowance to develop.
Governor, a lot of lawmakers say that these types of positions you take have everything to do with just stoking your national image. They say you're not as engaged with the legislature this year as you were in the past. and they say that this kind of